Yo, what is going on everyone? Guiding Light here, and in this one, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can defeat the Frostwalker boss fight on hard difficulty. Now, this boss has quite a few mechanics to it, which you will want to learn before getting into the fight. Now, as you can see here, the boss will have a few destructible parts. You're going to notice it has its sensors, its helmet, and its core cover. Now, these parts are extremely important to not only break, but to also try and destroy in a specific order. You will want to try and take out the helmet first, then the sensor, and then the core cover. And once we get into the fight, I'll show you which ones are pretty important. Now, each time you break off one of these parts, this boss is a little bit different. He's going to drop what's known as an ember. Now, this is one of the most important parts of the fight. So before we even get into it, I'm going to explain exactly what this is. Now, just like any other boss in the game, he's going to have these armor pieces we already talked about. But what's different is when one of the armor pieces breaks off, you'll notice these red particles begin to disperse from the boss, as you can see right here. So the armor piece breaks, and you see these very tiny red balls, these particles disperse from the boss. Those are the embers you need to keep track of. Now, as you can see, 4 pieces broke off, or 4 particles came off when we broke off the head of the boss. So 4 pieces will come off when you break the head of the boss. There's going to be more pieces which come off when you break the shoulders as well. And what you want to make sure you do is get at least 6 of these orbs to spawn. Now, the more you can spawn, obviously, the better and the easier this is going to be. But the key objective is to just make sure you have at least 6 of them. So let's start the fight from the beginning here. Now, another tip I can give you is going to be to get up as high as you can and stay off the ground as much as you can during this boss. The higher up, the better it's going to be to try and take him out. You want your entire team up top, honestly, if you can help it. If you can't get up there, just do the damage which you can, but really just try to stay up top. Now, also before getting into the fight, you want to try to designate who is going to be the runner and who's going to be doing DPS. So in this fight, you see 3 people are basically doing DPS while I do as much as I can, but I'm designated as the runner. The runner is the person that needs to keep track of those embers, which we talked about, and I'll just show you exactly what needs to be done with them here in just a second. So just like any other boss, you want to start with his armor pieces. Go for the smallest armor pieces you can. Those are going to be his sensors and the ones on the top of his head. Those are the most important to take out first because you can only really damage them from up top, and it's easiest just to get them at the start of the fight when you're up top. The other thing to keep in mind is as soon as these embers begin to spawn, these little flames, as soon as you break off your first armor piece, there actually will be a message which pops up basically explaining the entire fight and how to do it. So these embers will drop to the ground as I was already explaining, and you will need 6 of them. The message says you need to acquire all embers, and after you have all embers, I'll show you exactly what you need to do with them. So this is me just going into the chat, explaining to the whole team, hey, I'll be the runner. Do not touch these orbs. Only one person can touch the orbs. If anybody else touches orbs, it can screw up the entire process. Unless you're doing so much damage that there's like 10 or 15 orbs on the ground, you really want to make sure only one person is designated to these orbs. As you can see here, we're still doing damage. You can see these orbs beginning to spawn, but I'm not picking them up straight away, and there is a reason for that I'll explain. Now, just like any other boss, there is a timer at the top, 10-minute timer for the entire boss fight. Now, what's going to happen is around 7 minutes and 30 seconds, when 7 minutes and 30 seconds hits that timer, what the boss will do is he will send out a freeze attack. If you don't complete all of the steps in which I'll explain by that time, the boss fight will fail. So I'm going to explain exactly what you need to do with these embers and also the exact time when you actually want to pick them up, because just because they spawn, you actually don't want to necessarily pick them up straight away. So what's very important to note is that I said at 7 minutes 30 seconds, once that timer up top hits 7 minutes 30 seconds, that's when the boss will send out his blast, which will end the fight. Now, you might be asking why it is I'm not really even doing damage, and that's because I do not want the boss to aggro me. I am the designated person who's going to be running, and so at around 7 minutes 30 seconds, between 7 minutes 30 seconds and 8 minutes, it's very important that I don't take any damage at all, because once you start running, if you pick up these orbs, if you die, all the orbs will go away and you won't be able to even stay alive. The boss also has a freeze attack, which you want to completely avoid. Whoever's running, it's not even necessarily important for you to really do damage. What you want to be focused on is staying alive until the perfect time where you want to go and start collecting these embers. So that's why you don't see me drawing the boss's attention. What I'm focused on doing is figuring out where all these orbs are so I can make sure to pick them up in the right amount of time. So as you can see here, right around the 8-minute mark, I'm going to begin to pick up all of these fragments, all of these embers as fast as I can. Now you want to make sure that when you start picking up orbs, you pick all of them up at the same time. Each time you pick up an orb, you want to check this buff here, which will appear on your screen. What you want to do is you want to get this buff up to a 6 stack. And also, if you're in like a chat with your teammates at this point, you want to also be calling out, okay, I'm picking up orbs, because after you have all 6, you all need to group up. So as I pick up the orbs, I'm counting them down. I'm saying I've got 1, I've got 2, I've got 3. And then as soon as I get to about 4 or 5, the team knows we all need to group up. Now, because I am the runner, again, I'm not really focused on dealing that much damage. I'm just focusing on staying alive, making sure that everybody on my team can be up. Now, as soon as you get 6, you want to keep track of this buff as well. You'll notice here that the buff changes, the icon changes, it goes from a 6 to this flame. You'll also notice this giant ring appear around your descendant. Now, this radius will be where your teammates can be immune. So at this point, you want to say, okay, everybody group up, stay in this circle. What this circle does is it makes it so you can survive the boss's ice blast. If you don't survive the ice blast, you automatically lose the fight. Now you'll notice at around 7 minutes and 30 seconds, every time 7 minutes 30 seconds hits, he jumps up in the air just like that, does that ice blast. If the only reason we survived that is because we were within that ring and I had picked up all of the embers. Now, as soon as the immunity phase is over, as soon as he gets out of this, you can go right back to doing as much DPS as you can. Just get as much as you can as fast as you can. And if you can beat the boss between this time period and when the timer hits 4 minutes and 30 seconds, you'll pass the fight. Now, if the timer hits 4 minutes and 30 seconds, you'll have to make sure to do this process over again where you actually go and pick up these flames. And I'll show that you guys, we did not one phase this. We ended up having to go through the second phase. So I will show you how we were able to complete it. Now, whenever the boss does go immune in between these phases where you have to deal with the embers, you also have to deal with these crit spots on his legs. Now, this is the same as the Grave Walker, so it's no different than that fight. You just have to make sure to hit all of his crit spots. Only difference between this and the Grave Walker, the green version, is that he actually moves around and it's a lot harder to hit his legs. So do as much as you can to hit his legs, break those crit spots. Even as the runner, you still want to be trying to break crit spots because they're extremely difficult to hit. As you can see, very, very small, and they're always rotating around. So everyone needs to be focusing on these vials. But as you can see, once vials are broken, right back to the damage phase. We even have some embers left over because of all the armor pieces we broke off. But as you can see, I'm holding off. I'm not picking them up. No one wants to pick those up. It's going to be the same process as the first phase, but this time you want to start picking up orbs or the embers around 5 minutes because he will do his ice blast at 4 minutes 30 seconds. So as you can see, we'll just let the fight continue on. We're just doing as much damage as we can. As the runner, I'm trying to do my part to make sure I stay alive, not go down as much as I can. As soon as my health gets low, I'm just getting health packs, I'm getting ammo, and I'm also popping my abilities, making sure the roly-polies don't deal damage to my teammates, the people that are really focusing on DPS. Now, when I can, I deal damage. Of course, it's possible you may even go down. Don't give up, though. Just keep on the fight. Now, as soon as right around that 5 minute point hits, it was actually kind of almost perfect that I went down. It gave me full health again. And then it also was perfect timing for me to say, okay, I'm going to go pick up these embers. Everybody get ready. They all got pretty much ready. They started picking up ammo. They started picking up health, getting ready for the DPS phase. I'm chilling in the back, waiting until the timer hits exactly 5 minutes so that I'm not too early, I'm not too late. And right when I feel like the time is right, I'm going back, going for the run, getting all 6 of the embers again. Just the same as the first phase, really, but also it's going to be a little more chaotic because you're going to start running low on ammo and health. Now, again, I said, okay, I've got all 6. Everybody meet on me. We all ran to the back of the map. I also put it in the chat for the guy that wasn't in our party. Group up, come to the back. Everybody groups up again. We survive his blast, which will come out at 4:30. And then from there, you're safe. You just do as much DPS as you can. You finish up the fight. So hopefully this guide does help you out. I know it's a lot to take in. To be fair, I'm honestly pretty impressed with this boss. I was really satisfied when we finally took it down. It took us about maybe an hour of some solid teamwork, figuring out a strategy to really take him down. And to be fair, as annoying as he was at first, definitely really impressed with the entire process of him. So hopefully you enjoyed. I'm honestly looking forward to more of the bosses in the future, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.